Welcome to the Spark Creativity Teacher Podcast, a podcast for English teachers in search of creative teaching strategies delivered in the amount of time it takes to reorganize that table where you're always piling everything or make cookies for your upcoming class party. I'm Betsy Potash, and I'm glad to welcome you to episode 15, all about building creative professional community for yourself. So what do I mean by professional community? Don't we all have one automatically just by being part of a teaching faculty? Not necessarily. If you've ever felt lonely, judged, or left out at work, you know community isn't a given. We've all experienced faculty drama, and it can really take away from the teaching experience. How can you focus on teaching creatively if you feel like the teacher down the hall is criticizing your unique projects or saying your class is too easy? This episode is all about taking a proactive approach to building friendships and collaboration networks that will support your desire to teach students with creative teaching methods. Let me start by saying I've worked in a variety of communities. Today's topic is more personal than most, so I'm going to share a tiny bit of background before diving in. In my first teaching job, I felt supported and loved. My department chair found funding for my ideas. My teaching mentor invited me to dinner with her friends all the time. My students and I cared about each other, and I flourished as a teacher. I won the New Teaching Award and several grants in my first couple of years. In my second teaching job, drama was everywhere. People broke contract and left every few months. Marriages and relationships within the faculty went on and off the rocks. Support from administration was sketchy and unreliable, and no one seemed to trust each other much. You could hardly say I flourished. Survived is more like it, but after 1 year there, I made a huge effort to change the environment. I made a new faculty recruitment video, started a new teacher mentorship program, pitched the idea of a Teaching with Technology Professional Development Day to my head of school, and got the go-ahead to start working on it. I began to write about my job and share my experiences in online journals and magazines. By my second year there, the administrative support was still sketchy, but at least I knew I had some real friends and that I was making a difference. Here are 5 ways I've discovered that you can build a network of professional and personal support at work. The first idea is pretty simple. Be a friend. Sometimes you have to be a friend to have a friend. Think of ways that you can invite people on your faculty to spend time outside of work. Host a Sunday night potluck before a week of work together, or have everyone over to play silly games. Invite everyone to happy hour at a local bar after work, or to a minor league baseball game. Be sure you invite everyone. This is something I might never have realized if I hadn't married my wonderful husband. He had the idea that we should open our Friday night card games to every single person on our faculty. And at first I thought that was a little crazy. There were plenty of people we didn't know at all, but I followed his instincts, and soon we had a huge range of people dropping by to share soda, popcorn, and fun card games with us on Friday nights at his house. We even had our head of school and assistant head of school drop by on different nights. It ended up being a huge bonding thing for our faculty, and it helped us make friends that we're still close to today, even though we don't work at that school anymore. For sure, after hosting those nights for several years, we felt like we had a much more supportive community on the faculty there because we had become close outside of work. And it's very difficult to criticize somebody or to work poorly with somebody that you're already friends with. Okay, the second idea, after be a friend, be a mentor. If you are a new teacher, there may be somebody who's even newer than you, who joined the faculty late or who's just struggling more than you are. And if you're an experienced teacher, there are plenty of new teachers who could really use your help. There's so many ways to help teachers who are newer than you. You can email out great ideas. You can share curriculum packets and projects. You can share websites with them. Answer questions. You can invite a newer teacher out to lunch or over to your house to have dinner with your family. Anything that makes that new teacher feel included and supported and like they have somewhere to go when things are frustrating and difficult. The more that you're a mentor to other people and you share your ideas beyond your own classroom, the more you're going to feel valued, the more comfortable you're going to feel. As you help other people, then they want to help you. And that's not the only reason to do it, but it's a nice kickback. So be a friend and also be a mentor. Okay, number 3, if you still have time after you start inviting faculty over for informal fun get-togethers and you start trying to mentor younger faculty, you can also be an organizer. One thing that I did that was really valuable for me in my first few years of teaching was to start a breakfast club for teachers who were interested in a teaching strategy that I was interested in. It was called Harkness Discussion. And there were a lot of different teachers at the school who wanted to try it, and I was one of the first. And so I invited people just to have breakfast with me once a month and talk about the strategy. And I told them how it was going in my room and what I was doing, how I was using it, and everything I had learned at a professional development conference I'd attended. And they asked me questions and we just shared our ideas. And as more and more of them started doing it in their class, then they had ideas for me that were really helpful too. So starting some kind of a group to talk about a creative teaching strategy can be a great way to have support in trying out that creative teaching strategy and also to get closer to other people on the faculty. Okay, my 4th idea for you is to reach out beyond your classroom. Invite another teacher to team teach a unit with you. Maybe you're teaching a novel that another teacher is also teaching, and you could create all the materials together. My first teaching mentor in my first year of teaching taught every single day of her 9th grade units exactly the same way that her sort of best friend, she used to call him her work husband, taught it in his classes. And they collaborated every week to make all their plans and share all their favorite ideas. And literally minute by minute, they were doing the same thing. That may not work for you, but maybe you could just do it for 3 weeks with another 10th grade teacher or another AP teacher and just share all your ideas. You guys will get closer. You will have this great collaboration experience where you learn some of each other's strategies. And when you come out of it, you'll know you have that resource in that other teacher. Maybe you guys will work on something else down the road, and it'll be a little easier to ask each other questions or just swing by and say hi after lunch. Another way to reach out is to invite somebody outside your department to collaborate on an interdisciplinary project. So maybe you want to connect your English curriculum to science or art or history. Reach out and ask another teacher to help you brainstorm and see if you can do some guest lecturing in their class, and they can come in and do a little guest lecturing in your class. And maybe you can do an interdisciplinary project that's really meaningful because of the conversations that you have together. Another idea, and I did a whole episode on showing your administration your strengths, and one example from that episode that I'm going to share here, when you reach out, you can reach out to administrators too. If you've always felt like administrators were kind of this totally separate world from you, invite one of them to come and be a judge at your poetry slam, or invite a couple of them to come during your open mic night or for the performance your students are doing for Death of a Salesman. When you reach out to administrators and start to involve them in the action of your classroom, you're going to maybe start to feel a little more friendliness between you and that administrator, and hopefully a little more comfortable with them. And that's going to make you feel more professionally supported, hopefully. After an administrator has been to be a judge in your poetry slam, it might be a little easier for you to approach that person to talk about getting funding for your new program, or applying for a grant, or having help to go to grad school, or whatever it is. When you build a base, it's a lot easier to jump off from that base than it is if you've just never really even talked to this person that you don't really know. Finally, my last idea for you for building a creative support network for yourself is to find support outside your school. I have a Facebook group that I've talked about before here. It's called Creative High School English, and it has almost 300 creative teachers in it from around the world. And you can go in there, you can put in your questions, your struggles, your triumphs, and you can get support from teachers all over the place and ideas. 300 people's experiences will have more strength than one, right? So that's one way you can get some support. There are other Facebook groups out there, other online communities. I've found that Instagram is a fun place to share teaching ideas and to participate in conversations with other people, I'd love to connect with you there. My Instagram handle is @NowSparkCreativity. And I share ideas and funny quotes and beautiful pictures there. And there are lots of teachers who do. So if you're just using Instagram personally, obviously that's great. But if you're looking for more professional support, following some other creative teachers on Instagram can give you the feeling that, other people are trying some of the same things as you. Other people are breaking boundaries and trying out, unique teaching methods. So if you're feeling a little bit judged or lonely for being the creative teacher at your school, you'll discover that you're not the only one and that we all think what you're doing is great. So Instagram can be a good option. It's one of my favorites. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to check out the show notes for more information and related links about building teacher community, just head to www.nowsparkcreativity.com and click on the podcast tab at the top of the page. Be sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes so you don't miss the last episode in this back-to-school mini-series. Finally, as always, I'd love for you to join the conversation in my free Facebook group, Creative High School English.